So airsoft shotguns, what are they? How expensive are they? Do they actually work? And where do they work? And how do they work? Well, today we're gonna go over all the different types of airsoft shotguns so you can add a different type of airsoft gun to your arsenal. So first off, the least expensive are gonna be your airsoft spring shotguns. Now, most shotguns have 3 barrels inside of them. They take these shells right here that hold about 30 BBs and you get about 10 shots per shell. What you're gonna do is, for most airsoft shotguns, whether it be spring or gas, is there is a breech on the bottom that opens and you put the shell in with the full amount of BBs, you close it, you pump it, and you shoot. When you're done, you're gonna hit that little lever again and your shell should pop out. Now, obviously, real shotguns would have a feed tube system that would just load and then eject the shell, but this is a little bit more practical because you don't lose your shells. Spring shotguns are going to be a little less expensive than the gas counterparts that we're about to show, and when they do break, you pretty much just throw them away. What I have in my hand right now is an Elite Force airsoft spring shotgun, and under $100, it's a really good, really accurate gun for what it is. One thing to note about spring shotguns is that because there is no gas and there is no electric, you're actually taking the pump and pulling back a spring to create the energy needed to push out the BB. So with that, spring shotguns are going to be a little bit more, you're going to need a little bit more strength to pull a spring shotgun back than, let's say, a gas shotgun. But again, these inexpensive spring shotguns you can just pick up and don't have to worry about anything, worry about the cold, worry about a battery, nothing. You just take your shells and go have an awesome time with your friends. Now, for the person that wants a little bit more realism, wants a little bit better distance, wants a little higher quality airsoft shotgun, Double Eagle makes a bunch of different versions of airsoft shotguns, from classic versions to kind of, movie inspired versions. Now, Double Eagle is a manufacturer that makes a bunch of different brands like Jag, Lancer Tactical, its own brand Double Eagle. So most of the Tokyo Marui spec replicas are by Double Eagle. Right here we have what this is called an 870 shotgun. Now, again, the difference that I mentioned between the spring rifle and a gas rifle is that since you're using gas, the pump is actually really easy to pull back because all you're doing is just loading the gas in to be able to shoot out the BB. You're not pulling back a spring. With these 870 style gas shotguns, there's 2 different ways that they have to be able to fill the gas into the actual airsoft shotgun. The ones that usually have full stocks take a cartridge that goes into the back of the stock, and that cartridge has all the gas. You pop that cartridge in, then you can shoot. Ones like you see here, this wood version here, have just the fill valve in the grip here. So instead of a separate reservoir, they're using the grip as the reservoir for the gas. So that's the main difference you're going to see between like these shorter versions that have the fill on the outside versus the full stock versions. Reservoir that's removable, reservoir that's in the gun. And one of the limit with that though, with all gas guns, the limitations are when it's cold, it's going to leak. And unfortunately, some people deal in below 45-degree weather. Well, the one thing that a lot of people like about the ones that have the reservoir on the outside is they're very easily HPA tapped. So you could take a valve, you put it in there, and then you can regulate it at about 70 to 80 PSI. So if you have a Polar Star engine, you have a tank, you have a reg, all you need is a little adapter here, and you can modify this to shoot HPA. And actually, we found that when you use HPA on these guns, you actually get farther distance because you're getting better consistency of the gas, regulated pressure. For the 870s, it's going to be a little different. You can't just buy a little fill valve adapter kit. You actually have to buy a hose that goes from the back and then cut out a section for the hose coming through. So it's a little bit more complicated if you want the full stock. One of the benefits besides the easy pull the better shot consistency, the better accuracy. The gas is regulated and the gas is more consistent than a spring shotgun, so you're going to get farther distance. But one of the limitations of any of these shotguns is that there is no hop up. So based on the power source you're using, whether it be spring, whether it be gas or HPA, you're going to have to test and tune which BBs work the best in your shotgun. We noticed that HPA tapped airsoft shotguns typically need to be about 30 to 32, whereas regular ones that aren't HPA tapped in gas about 28 to 30 gram, and these spring shotguns for the best distance between 25 and 28 gram. One of the last features that these gas shotguns have that the spring shotguns don't have is an adjustable 3 to 6 shot. So you have 3 barrels coming out of these. Normally you're going to get 10 shots of 3 out of one of these shells. But what you can do if you want to shoot more BBs downrange, you can flick a switch right here, and that changes it from 3 BBs to 6 BBs. So each barrel will shoot 2 BBs out at the same time, which means you only get 5 pretty much racks with this shell. With the gas shotguns, it's exactly like the spring shotguns. You open the breech here, put it in there, pump, 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 done, and you hit the lever and it should fly out. So a lot easier than a real shotgun where you have shells popping out. You're not chasing these down on the field. And the great news is these are relatively inexpensive. So if you do lose one, they're pretty cheap. But not all gas shotguns are made equally. These double eagles are replicas of the OG, which is the Tokyo Maruis. The Tokyo Maruis are about $100 to $150 more expensive than the double eagle counterparts, but they are built a lot nicer than the double eagles. First off, the build quality is a little bit nicer, heavier metal, more, I would say, less wiggle in comparison to all the other parts, more accurate pumping, because we all need accurate pumping.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You can HPA tap these just like the double eagles, whereas I mentioned on these double eagles that have the external reservoir, you can just put a thing in, a little nub. These, just like the 870s, you have to actually put a hose through. So all the Tokyo Marui versions, you have to get a special hose to make it HPA compatible. So a little bit different, a little bit harder to HPA than some of these externally regulated reservoirs of the double eagle. So, but just to give you an idea, double eagle, you can kind of hear springs wiggling around. Tokyo Maruis, nothing really. So they're just really awesome and really accurate and just built a whole lot better than the double eagles. So you're looking at this and saying, well, what should I choose? Well, if you're just in it just to have a little bit of fun, spring shotgun, pick it up, throw it to your friend, awesome. If you're in the looks, then the double eagles are going to be right for you because they make about 8 to 10 different varieties that you can kind of pick up and have different types of, looks from a very traditional look all the way to something kind of like custom like this with the wood grips. But if you want the highest performance out of the box and the most well put together airsoft shotgun, anything Tokyo Marui is going to be the way to go, whether it be this breacher here, whether it be their 870 counterpart or the KSG. So Tokyo Marui is the way to go if you have the money and just want to just shoot a bunch of shotgun shells. But talk is cheap. Let's go shoot one of these. We're going to take this 870 out there and let's go shoot some to see what the pattern looks like when you shoot an airsoft target with a 3-barreled airsoft shotgun. All right, so we're going to go shoot the shotgun and see what the spread looks like on a 3-barrel gas shotgun. All right, so let's take a look at the 3 different shots that the shot. All right, so most of the time you get, a decent kind of little bit of a spread, actually pretty accurate. So these are the people are gonna call you and say, hey, I got hit already. Why are you hitting me multiple times? So with this one, I can kind of feel it right here. It hit about right there. This one probably hit right here, and then there's probably a flyer, and then these 3 were right here. I did hit one right here. It didn't leave a mark though. So you can see airsoft shotguns can be pretty accurate at about 25 feet. And they're just really cool, especially for close quarters indoor action. But here's the great news. No matter which one you choose, whether it be a spring, whether it be one of these double eagles or the high-end Tokyo Maruis, whether you HPA tap them or not, these airsoft shotguns are just a whole lot of fun, just like airsoft pistols are. And it's something different that you can show your friends how cool you are. And the great news here at MiR Tactical, we have the lowest prices and the fastest shipping on all of these shotguns. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.